What is it that keeps the essence of those guiding principles alive and relevant? Does it go on working with the advanced technology of its times, laminating timber, bending wood? It was fantastically innovative once. Should it now move to carbon fibre? Can one take the same spirit to that? Can it only be about the designs of its founder? Can it only be about burnishing the memory of Aalto's fantastic work? Or does it find others? Does it try to find people who are contemporary versions of Aalto? Or does it think about finding the best period, the best design of its time? The legacy, as it succeeds, is that it actually has the power and the confidence to ask itself those questions.
It was very interesting that Artek made the important statement: one is enough, the one chair is enough. And that was something I can share, the thing. Because now that we have so many things, but we don't need so many things. We need just something, one or few, something you like. And we should use long time. Now that the world is producing so many things to consume quickly, to force us to buy something new. But if we buy good things, we can use forever. I think that is very important philosophy. Not only chair, but also the whole life of our lifestyle. That is something I can share very well with Artek. Not only furniture, but also architecture and the lifestyle. So that's why I'm continuing good relationship with Artek now.
And I've been involved in the visual arts for close to 40 years. And the fact that I have a connection to Artek, and the fact that I live with the physical proof of Artek, which is primarily the furniture, I find it's such an important aspect of cultural life. And you never need to defend it. You hardly ever need to present it because it's so well known. So it had all of these qualities, and that is, I think, I can't think about a better brand name, if I may use that word, than Artek, because it embodies all the important aspect of contemporary cultural thinking.
I think for me, what's really special about Artek and it is distinct from any other kind of organisation is its celebration of the everyday and the importance that you attach to objects that are used every day. So it's very democratic, it's very accessible, and sometimes the simplicity is very beguiling, because to do something that's very simple and very reductive takes a huge amount of research, huge amount of work in order to get what looks perhaps inevitable and incredibly utilitarian, but actually holds a lot of meaning. And I love that ideology, and it's something that I aspire to myself.
Well, I think that to me, the legacy of Artek is really not so much about the product, although the product is fantastic and iconic and was groundbreaking when it was designed, and still holds tremendous value. The legacy to me is really the ideology and the culture of Artek, which was formed by the founders, and at the time in the 30s obviously was extremely radical. With the connection between developing on the industrial side new production techniques, new materials, and at the same time living very close to the arts and working on that arena. Also the dimensions of social engagement and being striving really to be part of a social movement and a social change in society, which was also very radical for a company at this time. And also I mean, talking about national characteristics, I think it's true that there are certain things in Artek that shows where it comes from, but it was also effortlessly international in a way, very open to the world outside. So to me, the legacy is very much about this this ideology and this cross-disciplinarity in a sense, and I think that's something that we maybe lost touch with for a while, not only in Artek but in society on a whole, but it's something that in a contemporary setting is becoming more and more relevant.
View of Finnish design of Artek, partly based on my experiences as a student starting work as an architectural journalist, that there is in the Anglo-Saxon world a genuflection at the Finnish spirit, that Alvar Aalto is understood as some kind of secular saint.
Well, I discovered Aalto when I was a student of architecture, and he's been a huge influence on me. What I love is the relationship with the organic, the softness of the forms, the curvature. I can't really think of another architect who's influenced me more, not in a kind of direct way, but through a kind of sense of sensibility. And for me, almost it's also about the relationship of the object and the building, which is something that I'm very interested in, and how he used that language both formally and architectonically, but also in his work in glass or the furniture.
Again, I needed the help of Åke Tjäder, and Åke Tjäder said, "I call you back in some few hours." He called me back and he said, "I'm coming to you tomorrow. Is it okay with you?" I said, "I'm more than happy to see you. I was always happy to see Åke Tjäder and talk about what happened in Artek and what happened in architecture and design." So when he came the day after, he said, "I'm happy that you want to help Muramé, but I have a much bigger problem. I need help for Artek. We are in Finland, this is 91 or 92. We have a lot of financial difficulties in Finland, and the family, that's the same thing that you are doing, supporting with the dividend from the company. They can't take any dividend just now, so they can't support the company. So if you want to support Artek instead, then you do something that's really, really needed." And to that, of course, I couldn't say no.
I think most parts that I finally used were kind of the wooden parts, like the armrests and legs and stuff. And I think, I mean, if I generally try to think about it, I think, yeah, the bended wood thing is definitely an option to think about if you think about Alvar Aalto furniture now.
And in Aalto's work you can see that he cares about the product, how it feels, and so he reworks these ideas. So he's more at the physical of the use. He's a classical architect. It's the experiment, I think, in itself didn't mean too much to him, I guess. So he would do it only then he can use it afterwards to do it.
It has a certain kind of nice ornamental thing to it, and I can even, maybe it's wrong, but I can even think it comes from some kind of stitched patterns, or it has something ornamental and almost folkloristic about it, while it's still super modern, like. And I like this. It has something very human about it.
Certainly, we are living through a time of crisis, generates a huge wave of creativity, because it forces you and it demands that you think harder, that you work harder, that you design harder, and that you use less to design more. And it also you know, in a way it weeds out the weakest. And so, and it weeds out a lot of commercial rubbish. Developers got very greedy, and a lot of buildings went up in the name of kind of greed and world domination, and that's kind of come to an end.
The fact that we have a responsibility to develop the design where it has not only a quality changing aspect, but it also has a change for people. I think that is a development which needs to be expanded.
Design is full of paradoxes. It's both an attitude, it's about the way we would like to live, it's about the ideals we have of actually not damaging the world around us, but it's also about persuading people to buy things, and buying things creates jobs and creates the prosperity which makes the culture flourish. So it's wrong to be ashamed of the idea that there is a commercial aspect to design. It has to be a successful business to survive and sustain itself.
Generally speaking, those crises and climate change, sustainability issue, although they are very, very important, but it won't change something drastically. As if you see that the history, always something happen. The big crisis and come back, and always people change their style and strategy, so that now we have less budget for something, most of the things. But I'm sure after a few years, the economy will come back and people will forget easily what we had suffered and spend. So this is the human nature. Always we repeat same thing again and again. But the only thing it doesn't change is this is environmental issue. This is one of the biggest paradigm shift we are experiencing. So that's why this cannot be just fashion for temporary. However, now people are using this as a commercial strategy, using green images without thinking what is the green, what is the ecology. And so that but you know, even if it's a fashion, still it's important things to think for everything. So this will become very important issue for design, especially architecture.
When people have a certain level of living, they should also be able to embrace the qualities of design. I'm not talking necessarily about the luxury goods or about even the objects that we are daily engaged in. I'm just talking about the aspects of design and thinking that makes life safer, more comfortable, and more understandable.
Design is now both about what happens inside a digital machine or a digital intelligence, but it's also about those physical, tactile things. And it's fascinating to me that Apple is one of the biggest consumers of Artek products, that they want to marry that sense of what's on the screen with the kind of sense that you can touch a piece of wood or feel fabric or have a connection with things that last.